On March 8th, 2017, representatives of the community management team along with 3 developers went live on Twitch to celebrate the first anniversary of the Division. During the broadcast, it was revealed that Year 2 would have no more paid DLC, no increased level cap, no new map areas, and no new mission locations. There was uproar in the Division community. Many prominent YouTubers immediately announced that they were done with the game, and many went as far as to declare the Division was now effectively over. 8 days later, Yannick Bonchereau and Hamish Bode convened probably the most important State of the Game broadcast ever. Their aim? To address these concerns, attempt to calm infuriated fans, and reassure thousands of Division agents that the company had not abandoned them and the game. This was their one shot to convince the players that Ubisoft took their concerns very, very seriously.
I'm tempted to make a joke, but I guess today's not. No. Hi. Hi everyone. Hi everyone.
Well, that could have started a little better. Given the gravity of the situation, I think I would have pitched the opening a little more at the level of Morgan Freeman, and maybe a little less Krusty the Clown. Still, I admire people who laugh in the face of adversity. They say that laughing in the face of a grizzly bear will stop it attacking you. Oh no, they don't. I just made that up. It'll just use your skull as a gobstopper. What concerns me the most about the opening remarks is that it's my job to crack tasteless, crass, inappropriate and ill-timed jokes, and I fucking hate it when people steal my thunder. So I have to admit that, Hamish, you have bested me, sir, and I salute you. Many people are claiming that the state of the game was more of the same. No substantive content is coming, nothing has changed, but it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. But not that much more complicated. You can put your fucking pens down. You won't need to take any fucking notes today. They made the case that the community confused the birthday celebrations for a Year 2 reveal. But let's cut the shit. They rolled out 3 devs and did a Year 2 reveal. Don't blame the community for interpreting that as a Year 2 reveal. It seems like they genuinely went off half-cocked at the first birthday party announcement. Not only that, it appears that the only thing that is both certain and not subject to a communication ban is all the tasty shit that they won't be giving us. Everything that is coming is either vague, unfinished, or completely undecided. But we kept getting told that despite us not getting all the stuff we wanted, and the stuff that we were getting wasn't confirmed, it was all free. This all contributed to the unintentional effect of making us feel like we were eating a dog shit sandwich with extra sand and told to like it because it's on the house. Yum fucking yum. Ultimately, where they went wrong was dressing up the bad news in pretty wrapping paper and presenting it to us like a gift, genuinely expecting us to be fucking delighted. It was like a junior doctor, enthusiastic that he's finally got your test results, bursting into your hospital room and shouting excitedly, "You've got catastrophic organ failure, you're definitely going to die." I absolutely respect enthusiasm, but sometimes bedside manner is more important. I love these guys, and I can tell from their demeanour that they were genuinely affected by the backlash from the Year 1 announcement. But it wasn't all bad though. Hamish got to be dressed up as Kate Winslet, Matty got some free anal bleach. I'd call that a win-win. I've previously raised the following questions, and I've seen them repeatedly raised on the forums, and I'm going to run through them again for old time's sake because they define this entire discussion. Thus far, answers to these questions have been stoically avoided. How long is the Division going to exist? How long are the servers contracted to be maintained? Are there plans being made for Year 3? Is the Division 2 in development? When is it planned to release? Will it be an extension of the current game or replace it entirely? What will happen to everybody's paid vanity items, emotes and accolades? I.e., will we port them over to the Division 2 if it launches next year? Until we get solid answers on these questions, it's entirely possible that they're selling hundreds of dollars of shit to us in the premium store, and the game might get canned in 12 months' time. I personally think these questions are being deliberately avoided because you'd think that by now they would have answered one of them by accident. So let's see what we get by way of clarity in the state of the game, which was clarifying the previous Year 1 birthday announcement. Okay, well let's take a look at the state of the game and quickly see what we're getting in year 2. As an instructional tool, I've decided to emulate my peers and produce my own version of the state of the game highlights, in an attempt to present my channel in a more mature and sophisticated light. For once, I'm going to be as professional as fuck. I've got a slick intro sequence, grown-up graphics, a somewhat ethereal theme tune, and edited it all together so it's as smooth as a porn star's ballsack. But if you do suffer from epilepsy, you might want to look away for a few minutes. Because reasons?
Bunch of fixes for revive.
We are continuing to support the game. Stagger.
We are not going anywhere. Stagger, Airburst, Seeker Mine, it's kind of business as usual.
My bad, sorry. Year 1 had all this stuff.
Yeah.
Year 2, nothing. There's going to be a lot to talk about this year.
Though.
Live programming. I'm not trying to take the piss. Stagger was under investigation. Airburst, Seeker Mines.
Stagger, we're investigating medkits.
Nimble nerf.
Happy 1 year anniversary. There's not gonna be a big story expansion.
You guys are stuck with us.
Loadouts, feats, and seasons. Loadouts, yeah, I'm sorry. Seasons and feats, 2 updates.
Keep going.
Loadouts, feats, seasons. Another update, we don't have any details that we want to commit with right now. Smaller updates and smaller patches. More bug fixing, more balancing, bug fixing and balancing and all of that.
I think it's interesting. The bug fixing.
Should we be excited about bug fixing? No, patches. Bug fixing patches, no.
Bugs. Bugs aren't like sexy and exciting.
New items, new things like that.
New gear sets, new weapons, a bevy of possibilities. Ninja bike backpack. Yannick's gonna get fired if it's not.
Loadouts, feats, seasons.
Seasons.
An elite task force.
New exotic bolt action sniper. The elite task force. I think we could have done better last Wednesday, of course.
And that's our fault.
No, that's true. But we will always do our best. Whether or not people believe that, it's another thing.
We are not saying that you guys are wrong. Hey, actually, it was just a joke.
And you can kill him.
Well, I thought that was perfectly charming. So, what is definitely on the table in 2017? We get an apology. I reckon we can credit $100 onto their man cards for that. State of the game is still going to be a thing throughout year 2, although I never assumed it wasn't. The elite task force is going to be restructured to be more effective, which is a great thing. Bug fixes, loadouts, feats, seasons, nerfing stagger, nerfing nimble, an offer of a fuck ton of random nerfs on whatever people are most offended by on the forums. I fear that the most seductive strategy for Ubisoft to adopt will be that of the Roman gladiatorial arena. They will operate on the assumption that as long as the people see a regular supply of blood on the sand, the baying mob will be appeased. This road leads to ruin, and will just result in a Salem witch hunt style nerf war on the forums. To be honest, it looks like that has already started. Nimble is undoubtedly going to get violently sodomized by the god of nerf, because apparently nobody in the division is allowed to heal themselves anymore, unless they have 9,000 electronics. It's a new law apparently. Nimble works, so I guarantee it will be nerfed. One thing that will immediately strike you about this announcement though, is that all of the optimists in the community are chanting the mantra of, it's not just about loadouts and bug fixes, but then struggling to come up with anything other than feats and seasons to add to that list, neither of which have been clarified or finalised. If I got a dime for every time this week I heard someone gormlessly repeating sentences completely permeated by the phrase loadouts, bug fixes, feats and seasons, I'd have enough money for a pizza and a Fanta by now maybe. Not that I drink Fanta, it's a fucking Nazi drink. Most significantly in my opinion, a big red flag was raised over the mysterious second content drop coming later in the year. It's kind of implied that we can't even judge how many goodies we're getting in year 2 because there is a second drop coming. This is undecided and could contain so much awesomeness that when it's revealed we'll spontaneously pop our loads and fall off our chairs. Effectively, they have doubled down on this content drop. So it had better be fucking awesome. Frankly, if it's not full of tits, porn and meth, people are going to be very fucking disappointed. So what is not off the table, but not guaranteed, e.g. under consideration? New items, item level increase, new weapons, new gear sets are now on the table, or not off the table. The thing is, nothing is specified. Without ink drying on a contract, we don't know what this means. If we accept the assurances of the community team, this could pan out to be a ton of fascinating, innovative and exhilarating loot. And Christ, I hope it is. If they go to town on this promise, we could end up with a game transformed by all the new shiny toys we get to play with. We're basically required to rely on this on blind faith. But if they come good, this combined with the contents of the mystery second content drop could add up to a lot of happy players. But it's still vague, and only time will tell. And yeah, tons of nerfing is still totally on the table, naturally. Personally, I like the idea of loadouts, especially given the frequency with which gear sets are getting pummeled with the nerf bat. Being able to quickly swap between setups in just a few mouse clicks means that if I snort enough crushed Adderall and work really hard on my reflexes, there's a slight chance I might be able to swap my equipment over fast enough to keep up with the nerfs. That's got to count for something, right? I really want to feel reassured. We got a lot of tummy rubs from Yannick and Hamish. They seem to genuinely care. They really want the community to be happy, and they've tucked us up in bed with a dummy and our comfy blanket. But the lizard part of my brain, my reflex animal brainstem, keeps dragging my eyes down to the cold, hard facts on the page, and they haven't changed much. In fact, it's starting to remind me of a certain television hypnotist.
Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. The eyes, not around the eyes, don't look around the eyes, look into my eyes. You're under.
They both acquitted themselves of all the minor accusations and charges, claiming that the players had unrealistic expectations and misinterpreted the agenda, but they failed to comment on the big charges. Like a serial killer arrested after a 2-hour car chase, they're claiming boldly that they did stop at all the red lights, the car was fully insured, and they drove with due care and attention. This is all excellent, but can we now discuss the 2 disembodied, jizz-stained schoolgirl corpses in the trunk, please? And explain why you're wearing a dress made of human skin, if that's not too much trouble, sir. The thing is, misunderstandings and expectation management issues aside, there does indeed appear to be fuck all content coming in year 2, apart from maybe a few rifles and an avalanche of psychedelic weapon skins. But considering how few devs will be required to keep the cosmetic vendor full of new multicoloured combat underpants, it's hard not to conclude that there's been a massive staffing reallocation. I can only assume to Smurfatar, the video game, or the Division 2. But the big questions still remain. How long is the Division going to exist? How long are the servers contracted to be maintained? Are there plans being made for Year 3 and 4? Is the Division 2 in development? When is it planned to release? Will it be an extension of the current game or replace it entirely? What will happen to everyone's paid vanity items, emotes and accolades? And whilst we're on the subject, reduce the price of the items in the premium store in the name of all things fucking holy. Not only will the company appear to be less money grubbing, but you'll make more profit by selling more items at an affordable price. You're not selling fucking boss suits and diamond encrusted cock rings. They're just pixels. They're not worth between $3 and $10 a pop. The prices are disgraceful. If you want to make money, sell things at a price that's fair. It's way more lucrative. You're not fucking Harrods. Changing the structure of the ETF is a good move that I applaud. My views on the ETF are well documented, but mainly focus on the fact that it's structured in a way to achieve compliance, and at least half of all the people there are YouTubers. Everyone arrives too late in the development process to do anything other than pre-review the changes. I know it's a scientific fact, nobody wants my advice, but here it is regardless. Involve a wider group of players. When the ETF launches, put 100 people who didn't make it into the ETF on a mailing list and poll them about their opinions about what's transpiring and what's in development. Getting some honest feedback from people outside of the comfort of head office can only be a good thing. The player base needs to be calmed by hearing about what will happen, not what isn't being ruled out. Not ruling something out is not equivalent to saying we are going to do this. I've not ruled out licking my elbow, winning the lottery, or copping off with Meg Turney. Not ruling these things out doesn't mean they're going to happen. Fuck, I can reliably say that Meg Turney has not ruled out shagging me either. Admittedly, probably because she doesn't know I exist. Nevertheless, Despite the fact that both me and Meg have not ruled out shagging each other senseless, the statistical probability of me ever snuggling my grubby little face into her majestic tits are approximately, hang on, let me get my calculator, yep, still 0. I understand that you don't want to make promises you can't keep, and that your evil overlord masters dictate to you what you can and can't say. But throw us a frickin' bone here. There are some answers you can give us. Spare us the well-intentioned statements of optimism, possibilities and commitment. Despite my salty rantings, it's obvious even to me that the community management team want to do right by the game and by the players, especially the pretty one with the long hair and the sinister laugh. This said, do better next week, guys. There's still a ton of questions that have been avoided about the longevity of the game. Division 2, Year 3, how long the servers will run. The players just want to know if there's a future and what is definitely going to happen. The uncertainty is killing us. There are some critical fucking questions not being answered here, probably at the express instructions of the community manager's corporate overlords, and it's kind of making a mockery of the whole procedure. I understand there may be broader corporate issues involving the future of the company at play here, but nevertheless, you need to convince your bosses that certain questions need answers, because the community is only going to ask them louder and more aggressively over time. It's probably a good idea if I get one thing off my chest. I have major nerf anxiety for 2017. I once got thrown out of a seaside arcade for playing whack-a-mole too aggressively. Like the stupid cunt that I am, I assumed that the harder you hit the fucking gophers with the mallet, the more points you got. Eventually, the owner and his son came out and watched me silently for the last minute of the game, whilst I went full Mortal Kombat on every little plastic fucking rodent. I think they thought I was some kind of escaped mental patient, because they were very polite and I could see a hint of concern in their eyes, and they asked me to leave. I immediately left because it's a well-known principle of war that the only people better at hand-to-hand combat than the American British Special Forces are fucking carnival folk. Never fuck with a carny. They will fucking have you. Shit, we could have saved a lot of time and money in Afghanistan by just sending over one low-rent amusement fair, because 20 or 30 carnies and their kids, armed with broken bottles and screwdrivers, could have cleaned that shithole out in under a month. Anyway, the reason I mention this is that I fear that in 2017, the dev team is starting to look like that crazed image of past me. Only they will be armed with the Nerf bat. Just, dear Lord, don't start introducing quick, ill-considered nerfs, because they're the fastest and easiest way to demonstrate you're doing stuff. Some players would prefer to get their opponent's gear nerfed rather than adapt. I fear the Nerf bat in Year 2 because it's an easy and cost-free way to please players, but frequently fucks off even more players than it pleases. It's the worst kind of populist game development. Many players are getting fucking tired of grinding gear that's good, only to have it nerfed. What message are you trying to send? Don't grind good gear? If you let one group of players neutralise another group of players' gear set by listening to their cries for nerfs, you've allowed that group of players to beat their opponents by means outside of the game mechanics. If you constantly rebalance a game based on who shouts loudest, you end up with the game that the biggest crybabies want. Is that your goal? Social engineering trumps learning game mechanics? Every time you nerf the best thing, the second best thing becomes the best. Nimble. You can keep doing that forever, but as the smart fucker once said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Everyone needs to be careful how hard they shoot their mouths off crying for nerfs, because in a developer-poor working environment, spitting out quick, ill-considered nerfs are the best way to make a big show of busy by doing fuck all real work. And whilst we're on the subject, if you want to calm down the PvP versus PvE player rift developing further, for fuck's sake, stop nerfing stuff for PvP and then expecting the PvE community to just suck it down like a cup of cold sick. Similarly, at the moment we have thousands of PvE players face planting into Last Stand and experiencing the full arse-gaping horror of PvP for the first time. As a PvE player myself, I can say this without prejudice. Don't fucking listen to them when they cry for nerfs. Everyone has to go through the pain barrier of adjusting to the harsh new realities of PvP and make changes accordingly. If they are getting boo-boos on their knees, then they will just have to behave like a big soldier and dust themselves off. Let Last Stand bed in for a month or two before nerfing gear, for fuck's sake. Nimble has been around for ages and nobody gave a shit about it. It's only an issue now because healing has been gangbanged and medkits are now exquisitely shit. Charismatic and sincere as they are, Yannick and Hamish are asking us to take a monumental leap of faith. But as much as I want to trust them, when it comes to facts such as the number of developers working on the Division now, Elvis has clearly left the fucking building. To quote the X-Files, I want to believe. Just like I want to believe in aliens. But until I've actually had one of those little skinny grey fuckers stand in front of me with their big almond-shaped eyes and no penis parts, I'm not going to make a regular habit of going up to random strangers and talking about aliens like they are factually real. Sure, a trip to a mental asylum means wall-to-wall upholstery and as much free mashed banana as I can eat, but there are easier ways to be comfortable and well fed. I guess my final take on all of this is I want to feel reassured, but when I look back at the facts, I don't know why. Because we don't really have any facts. We just have vague reassurances. They have done a great job of addressing us on an emotional level, but not really provided any evidence that Year 2 is anything more than maintenance mode. I really want to trust Yannick and Hamish, because they seem like really nice guys. But then again, I don't trust nice people. They're always up to something.
3, 2, 1, you're back in the room.
My number's 555-1313. Why don't you give me a call tomorrow?
Sure thing, baby. I'll have to fight him off. Right, condoms.
What is very clear is that they don't really have much of a clue what they're going to specifically do. They have lots of ideas, but they haven't really decided on much, if anything. The state of the game did go some way to clarifying what the intentions are with Year 2, but I hope the second content drop is fucking awesome, because you have doubled down on that. But let's face it, I can acknowledge that the game has not been totally abandoned, but it's also clear the game isn't really being developed much now. Answering the key questions I have listed repeatedly is the only way to come clean. If I'm being honest to myself though, my gut is telling me that Yannick and Hamish are making the best of a bad situation, and Ubisoft is withdrawing its full support for this game. I'm sorry to say that, but that's where the evidence leads. Give me some more solid facts and hell, I might come to a different conclusion. At the end of the day though, it doesn't matter whether they let me down. If this all turns to rat shit, it's just a hysterical opportunity for me to make more rage-induced shit-posting videos. Only now, I'll have even more adrenaline and an unlimited supply of salt, and an enraged army of viewers desperate to watch my videos, and burn down the city. But make no mistake, this will be a historical tragedy in gaming history if we are just getting IT support for 12 months, and then the Division is getting tanked. Oh yeah, and sort out Hamish's fucking bolt-action exotic sniper rifle for fuck's sake. It sends out a really negative signal that even when a community manager champions a minor but very popular project for the players, it still can't get done. Fuck, buff an M44 damage roll by 10%, give it some decent non-Harry Potter based third perk, there you go, all done. Took 90 seconds. Thank you for watching.